And that. And that. And we are live.
Hey, what's up?
Not too much. You got a
Welcome.
different setup and a
I
different
do.
locale.
I do. It's
Slightly different locale.
feeling good about myself now. I don't have to hear you complaining about my setup.
Oh, you'll still have setup issues, I'm sure. As you can tell, we're both facing the same direction right now. So that's
Yeah,
one thing. That's one thing.
that doesn't even count.
We'll get there.
Nobody knows that what direction we're
Everyone knows that
facing.
that's how you do shows.
No.
Everyone's always either facing straight ahead or they're facing each other.
Oh, okay. Well, we're in totally different locales.
Totally different. Not really.
So what's up, guys? This is the 58th episode of live show of Frag Logic. We're streaming on Twitch TV and we're streaming on YouTube. I'm joined by my co-host, good buddy Colin Skyless, and we have some couple things for you today. I mean, we're gonna just roll right through today's show because we both want to get on Titanfall. Um, I think almost five members of our team are streaming. Me, you, Tent, Phobos, Wraith, and my brother's trying to stream. So six.
6.
We got 6 members of ZYN trying to stream right now. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on. It feels good to have everyone on. I think that was our first time on, and that many guys on at once in a long time.
Really long time, actually.
Like,
Maybe Battlefield had like 5 or 6. Battlefield 3.
yeah, 2 years ago. That sounds about right.
Yeah, like pre-Gears.
Yeah. So yeah, today we got our normal stuff. We got weekend gaming. We have some oddball gaming news here and there. We're going to be talking about Titanfall, our impressions, what you guys kind of think about them, and then we have Watch Dogs, which released a bunch of information this past week, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, kind of discuss how we feel about it, and if we have time, like if we finish and there's, I don't know, 5-10 minutes before the show ends at 9, or I'm sorry, 10 for you guys on Eastern, but in an hour, whatever, then we'll take some questions, but we're hopping right into Titanfall, and we'll probably all be streaming on Twitch right after this. So if you want to stick around, watch us play some games with the team, hear some call outs, watch some CTF gameplay, high level play, mind you, then I encourage you guys to follow us over on Twitch following the stream. So weekend gaming for me, I played Loadout. I played more Nosgoth. I bought an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 760 graphics card on Saturday or something like that. And then I bought a new monitor. It's a Samsung 22C300.
Oh, the 22C300.
The 22C300. I'm saying these specifically because I used to. I
Quite the
still get them.
vintage.
I used to get a lot of questions about the gear I was using. But there's the model in the Twitch chat. Samsung S22C300. Colin, it's only 139 bucks. Looks gorgeous. It's 22 inch. You remember the Samsung Sync Masters? That's what it reminds me of, except it's not a 2MS. It's a 5.
5 ms.
I was either
It's not suitable then.
yeah for you, right? But yeah, it's 139 bucks. Great deal, and it's kind of holding me over as we're actually preparing to look for some new places here in Austin. It's Christy and I, so kind of buying some really inexpensive stuff. We're probably selling that glass L-shaped desk that I had a lot of people asking me about. Might sell it for like 50 bucks or something like that. But that was my weekend pretty much, buying gear and playing a couple games. I also got, if you're a Twitch Turbo account, I don't know if anybody in the stream and our viewer on Twitch, if you guys are Twitch Turbo users, but they just sent an email literally about an hour before the show started, saying that Twitch Turbo guys get a free beta code to Strife, which was one of the games I think either last week or the week before. It was the Heroes of the Storm discussion, so I think it was last week. Yeah. Strife is one of the upcoming MOBAs that are flooding PC here lately, and it's one of the ones
But
I
it's
want to
from
try out.
S2. S2 Games who did Heroes of Newerth.
Heroes of Newerth, right?
But
So
this
it's
is
not.
a casualized version of Heroes of Newerth.
So what's that? What are you trying to say?
That's
You
their
sound
words.
like
That's their words. That's their words. They said that they want to have a more wide-reaching appeal to mobile players, and that they've intentionally made systems more simple. For example, you share EXP with other lanes and gold as well. So you're
is that
basically
like
sharing
Smite?
your gold across the entire thing.
Like Smite?
Mm, no, on the individual level as well. So like last hits mean nothing,
Oh, okay, okay.
which is casualization. There's really no other way to put it. But yeah, so that's from S2.
Snob, MOBA snob.
I kid you not. Like that's what they said.
Okay, all right.
They
Just
said this isn't a game for you, Colin. That's what they said in the preview. They said this isn't a game for you, Colin. This is simple.
oh yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. We're gonna hit quick gaming news too. Colin, go ahead. What'd you do for this weekend? Weekend gaming.
Not much actually. I was just kind of relaxing a bit before Titanfall came out. I actually watched a couple movies. I watched Her and
Like Ben Hur?
no, the movie Her. It came out recently. It was in theaters. And then also Old Boy, the new one.
The new one? Oh, I watched that too.
It was
Disappointing.
disappointing.
The
Yeah.
fucking fight scene that I wanted to see got
The
dumbed
hallway
down.
scene that they fucked up so bad. No emotion whatsoever.
It was so bad.
Yeah. Without giving any spoilers, I wouldn't watch Old Boy. Her was fantastic though. And then we did this Titanfall launch party stuff. If you want to lead into that.
With the Titanfall launch? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead and change the topic. Titanfall launch review. We'll just say that launch review and we'll encompass that in the gameplay and all that stuff. So, for those of you the guys that didn't know, I kind of posted about it. I talked about it in a Titanfall video. I don't know if our Frag Logic viewers view some of our live stuff. It's really starting to blur for me on what type of audience that we have now on my YouTube channel and on Twitch. But on 2 weeks ago, maybe? I think it was 2 weeks ago, Major Nelson posted an update saying that the Titanfall launch party was going to be here in Austin at Microsoft Studio for South by Southwest, and they were going to also celebrate the launch of Titanfall, and then they were going to have Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, there to perform at the event. Now, obviously, since Colin and I are both from Austin, and I figured Christy would love to see Childish Gambino, we were like, we're gonna make sure that we get to this. All right, so last week, I think Thursday or Wednesday of last week, I can't remember exactly, Major Nelson and a couple other places posted that you could get VIP passes to the party early if you attended a Microsoft store, like just wait in line, basically launch event.
Yeah.
Preview event, basically, and they would give you a ticket and you could go. So Colin got there, and he was like 47.
47 out of 50.
And they only gave out 50. And I got there, I was like 56 or something like that. And we got there 2 hours early.
Yeah.
About 2
yeah,
hours
it's about
early.
that. They weren't supposed to start lining up until 4
4,
o'clock.
right.
They
So there's
lined
supposed
up
to
at
be
like 2:30.
no line, but they had a line there at 2. So they had a pre-line to the line. So if you got to 50, they basically cut you off. They gave you some giveaway stuff that or raffled off some giveaway stuff. There was like 150 people in line. Colin got a badass Titanfall shirt. I got one, but I don't know where it's at. And so that's actually the same shirt. We got the same shirt.
Yeah.
Okay. I posted my Twitter picture of mine if you guys didn't see it. They did not have the keychain in the back that they gave out at the Microsoft Studio when we were waiting in line. So that was Sunday. Colin? Is that right? That was Sunday.
That was Monday. Sorry, yeah, it was Sunday.
Okay, so that was Sunday for the pre-launch event. We didn't get VIP passes. Colin got his VIP pass. On Monday evening, so the next day, Christy and I got ready. We headed downtown. Now, if you guys haven't been to Austin, haven't been to South by Southwest, it is a madhouse.
Yeah.
It is busy. It's like you can't move everywhere. Takes an hour plus, at least minimum, to get there, and things are within like 5 minutes. Takes 30 minutes, just to give you an idea. So we knew we had to leave early. We went down there. We left 4 hours early. And we arrived, was at 5, maybe 6. It might have been 3 hours early. 3 hours early sounds right. So we got there at 6, and the doors didn't open till 9. We were about 200th in line. Okay? They were going to let in the first 500 people. So we were like, we're fine, we're cool. But the line went around the side of the building, okay? At about 8:30 or something like that, or maybe 9, I'm not sure. Apparently, there was this big mass of people that just went to the front of the line because they didn't have rope off. They didn't give people in line that were waiting there for hours a ticket. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay? So this big, huge mass of people just stormed the front. They didn't check at all to see if they were waiting in line. They let all these people in, and then 9:30 rolls around. We're still on the side of the building, and it's going up really slowly. But people are starting to get impatient. They're like, what's going on? Why aren't we in? It's past 9. We've been waiting for hours and hours and hours. What the hell is up? So finally, a couple of us, there was like, I don't know, maybe 10 people, like all in it within a group. We're like, man, we don't have time to sit around. So we started walking and looking around, and they were like, it's just this huge glob of people. And we were like, this is like 400 people in front of us right now. And so we basically determined that people had cut and that we couldn't get in. And they closed the doors, I think, at 10:15 or something like that, and wouldn't let anybody in.
Yeah.
So that's where we left. Christy and I left. We were like, fuck it. We got a free t-shirt. We waited 4 hours. Christy was complaining. She had a heel. She was looking all purdied up. She was looking nice. I was looking forward to seeing some Childish Gambino. Didn't really care about Titanfall, but they fucked up. Their event planning, coordination, all that shit was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah. So I was able to get in with my pass around like 9:15. Got to chat with Mike Castro for a little bit. Went in, got a couple drinks. Tipped well, by the way. Actually tipped more than I would have drank, realistically. And then I played a game. Like, the venue inside was... It's funny they said 500 people, because the venue could fit maybe like 200. Like, there was... It's a pretty narrow building. And then they had probably like 30 consoles in there. Set up for stations to play and to hang out, and there was the stage, and then like a small area around the stage was all. It wasn't like it was a actual like concert venue kind of setup. So I mean, like, realistically, their production staff alone probably put the building at like 20% capacity, because they had everyone there because they were streaming the event, and tons of cameras and everything. Microsoft doing the whole 9 yards and everything.
Right.
So I step out to get some air at one point. After asking, 5 of us were kind of all moving together and asked, like, hey, we step out, can we step back in? They're like, yeah, sure. Walked out for a minute, came back, and they wouldn't let anyone in because they were at capacity, I guess. And then I guess the fire marshal had showed up, so they were super paranoid about it. They ended up closing the VIP door and told all the people with VIP passes that they could go around to the front if they wanted in. Of course, around to the front meant standing in line behind 500 people. And like 2 seconds later, I saw Donald Glover walk by, going, it's pretty salty.
So that's the launch.
That was the launch. And then
That was
I
a
walked
launch
back
party.
20 blocks back to my car in the rain. So that was fun.
So do you want to hear what pisses me off the fucking most about the launch party? I mentioned those 10, 12 people in front of us that were talking, right? About the game. Okay, we were talking to them about the game. And I knew that because they announced who was going to be there, that the majority, probably 90 to 95% of the people fucking in line, didn't give a rat's ass about Titanfall.
Oh yeah.
10 people in front of us said they were PlayStation owners and they had no Xbox One. They didn't even care about the event. I am not shitting you. 10 people in front of us, I promise you guys, in front of us, said, I have a PlayStation. I don't even have Titanfall. I'm not even interested in Titanfall. I came here to see the show. It is because they announced who was going to be there in addition to, hey, we're going to have this launch party.
And
If they
during a
would have
music
left
festival,
it,
no less.
right. If they would have left it at, hey, we're going to have a Titanfall launch party. You guys should show up. We have an unannounced guest that'll be there. It's going to be live performing. I guarantee 95% of those people wouldn't even fucking been in line. And it just would have been people that actually care about the Titanfall launch event. So that's what pisses me off the most.
The VIP crowd, I think, was mostly there. Like, there were people that were there for the show, but there was also people that were like, yeah, I'm going to buy the game as well. Like, I'm interested in that, you know? Like, for the most part, which is why I felt like they should have given more passes out at the Microsoft store on Sunday. I think it would have made more sense.
So
letting people line up knowing that they weren't going to let people in, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Pretty
Future
shitty.
reference. And I now know this. If it's the CM, if it's Abby that was doing it, if it's some event coordinator, if it's a Microsoft event coordinator,
It was all Microsoft.
it seems like it was all Microsoft. Whoever is the event planner for that, for the next time, you're going to say first come, first serve. You give the fucking people in line a ticket. Give them a ticket. They were there. They waited. Give them a ticket. Then you don't have to worry. Then there's no bullshit. Show the people a ticket. You were in line. You're done. Now, one other cool thing that actually happened from that, and I don't have the card with me, but there's this app that's going around, I guess, where you can send people a message from this app and they will wait in line for you. So we could have called them if I would have known this app existed and been like, hey, can you sit in line at about 2 o'clock right at the front at this building, this address, for this event? And they would have been like, yeah, sure. And then you go up and you pay them whatever it costs to, it's probably hourly,
Huh.
but they would wait in line for that thing to come. So I was like, man, that's a fucking good idea.
Yeah.
So now I know that for next time. So the launch itself,
Yeah,
for me
the positive
personally,
end of that was I was able to drive home and pick up the game at midnight at GameStop.
Yes.
Which I
That's
wasn't going to
actually-
be able to do otherwise.
that's exactly what happened for me. So we just were like, all right, we're gonna pack up. Chrissy and I went to go eat dinner, went out and bought the game at Walmart, and then came home, fired it up, and we were ready to play. And we played until, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So, playing the game is fine. The launch event, launch planning, launch coordination was shitty. Just awful. Horrendous.
I would
Please.
rather have gone to the Microsoft store and just hung
And
out over there.
yeah, that would have been people that actually care
There would
about
have
the
been
game.
people that care and be able to talk about games and shit,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. So, pretty upsetting about that. All right. The game itself, Colin, you've gotten more time than me, so I'm gonna let you handle most of your impressions.
Okay.
Is this a game that people should buy? Talk about the content, all that stuff.
Yeah, so the big thing for me, obviously, has always been the movement. I think the movement is the best we've had in a shooter in a long-ass time. So, that's the biggest selling point for me. The big thing that's come up repeatedly in complaints is, A, the campaign wasn't done very well. I haven't played it yet, but I read, what they did with it, and it sounds like they just real bare bones, just, laid cutscene or laid cinematic camera things and voiceovers over your gameplay, and that's it. So it sounds like that wasn't done very well. Not really surprised, considering that there's yet to be a multiplayer-only game that's been able to do that well. It was something they were kind of rolling the dice on, but it was a big bet for them, and it's going to let them establish a universe from it, more so than UT's campaign. Didn't really do anything to set a universe. But I know I'm going to dig into it again.
Why you have to go there?
You know what I meant, though.
Did you see the salt on my face? Motherfucker.
It's true though. So
This dude.
yes, I mean it's going to set the universe, right?
This guy.
It sets the IMC, it sets Hammond, it sets Militia, it sets the different locales and stuff, some of the different planets, gets some of the idea across that they might be able to do more with it in the future, and they can definitely get more of a fan following around the universe that UT and Quake can't really get through their tournament structure.
Right.
But for the most part, it sounds like that was a letdown for a lot of people. And then the other stuff is content. And I am I'm on the other side of this personally. So they did progression system that's very similar to Call of Duty. You level up, you unlock guns, you use the guns, you unlock attachments. You play through, you get to max level, you have all the stuff unlocked, you can do prestiging, yada yada yada. But I think because they did that, it's drawing lots of comparisons to Call of Duty, which has like 4 times the weapons and 4 times the attachments. It has weapon skins, it has yada yada. Like there's tons of extra
Yeah.
stuff. There's way more content in the progression system in Call of Duty. And because they made it so similar and they didn't deliver as much, people are let down from that. My personal standpoint is I feel like each weapon that they have in the game has a place. Like it has a very specific role it's filling, and there's no 2 weapons that are like really, really similar, except for the 2 SMGs, which are pretty similar. But like it's not like Call of Duty where you have 10 assault rifles and they all shoot pretty much the same. Like there's
Right.
different values and stuff, but for the most part, it's the same gun. Same thing with like the equipment and the ordnances. There's only 3 ordnance for pilots.
Yeah.
It's just stim, cloak, and the radar one, which is annoying. I don't like using it.
The minion radar.
No, there's one. It's like the see-through walls thing, where you activate it instead
Oh,
of
okay.
stim.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, yeah, it's just really light on content in that sense. There's lots of maps, which is like by far the saving grace, I think, for the content side of things, because really
Yeah, if
the
they
maps
would've-
are what matters.
If they would have launched with 4 maps,
Yeah, it would have been done.
don't worry. We got 8 maps in the campaign, though. The multiplayer campaign, we got another 4. That makes 8 maps, guys. We're good.
Yeah, so there's 15 maps. There's only 3 Titans, obviously, and they're all basically the same. All that's changed is the dashing and the health values, and then like your core is slightly different, but for the most part, it's nothing. It's not going to change the way you play each one. You know what I mean? So again, kind of late on the content there. Modes is another one which has gotten hit for lack of content. There's 2 different team deathmatch variations, one with pilots only, one with bots. Then you have Hardpoint, CTF, and Last Titan Standing, which is a single life mode. That's a bit light for a multiplayer only game, I think. So like that's my gripes, right? The core gameplay, like once you get into a game, I think it's solid. Like there's stuff that annoys me. I still have trouble recognizing pilots from grunts and specters. That drives me nuts sometimes. Some of the maps are like overly cluttered. Some of the maps are really, really large and more suited towards Titan play, and it's really hard to get around as a pilot.
Yeah.
But when you have 15 maps, like there's like 7 or 8 awesome pilot maps, and then if you're into Titans, there's about 7 or 8 awesome Titan maps. So like, and then there's obviously like the modes can sometimes gray that areas a bit. Like Hardpoint can bring action to just specific areas. But yeah, like they kind of skimped on the content for a multiplayer only game. But the gameplay is awesome. Like I love the gameplay. It's fresh. I don't think it's like a revolutionary, but it's definitely like the next step, I think. So I guess evolutionary would be how I would describe it. It's like they took where the genre is at right now, and I feel like they made the next big step with how they made things for Titanfall. They kind of kept the things which have been changed towards accessibility, and I hate using the word like accessibility. Yeah, accessibility is probably the right word, which has been the trend over the last like 5 years.
Yeah.
So they kept that by having the grunts and having the story elements and that stuff. And then they also just added this layer of movement and verticality back onto the game. So solid. My biggest gripe is the out-of-game experience sucks. Like there's basically nothing. There's no ranks, no private matches, no no skill-based matchmaking even. Like there's nothing.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
Like you just search for a match and you get into a match and that's it. So like that's my biggest disappointment is that whole experience. The burn cards feel like they were really hastily implemented. It doesn't seem like it. Like it sounds like people will enjoy them though, for the most part. I think they're kind of cheap at times, so I haven't been using them that much. But it seems like they were really hastily implemented. It seems like it was almost an afterthought that they struggled with how to get it in there,
Right.
And I think that covers like all of my thoughts pretty much. CTF is the shit.
CTF is awesome.
CTF's awesome.
Uh, so I'm gonna see a couple things that I think I would point out that you didn't. They are having server issues.
Some.
They are having some server issues. So for a multiplayer only game, yeah, again, I'm not gonna talk shit too much, but
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as some other game launches.
yeah, but it's something that you have to take note of because they are a multiplayer only game, and if you can't play online and you can't get into the game, then obviously that's going to suck, and you're going to be like, why did I spend $60 on this game if I can't even play the game? So I think that aspect of it might be swaying some people. That might also add to some fuel to the fire. Content was a big one that we got on the first couple videos that I've already posted. It's like, hey, I've heard that there's only this number of guns. There's only 5 game modes. And I'm like, well, here's my stance on weapons is the more you make, the more it kind of adds fluff, right? And then you'll hear people say, well, yeah, there's this many weapons, but really only weapon people really use is this one. Is because, and that's what we get on loadout. It's like, only people are going to use this one because it's the best weapon. Yeah. Everything else, those are all trash. They need to go back and kind of tune those. I think by having a low number of weapons, it really helps people focus. Okay, I can use this weapon in this type of situation. I use a shotgun if I want to be highly mobile, kind of sway, less accurate, kind of quick on my feet and be able to move. I can use a carbine if I want to kind of set up, kind of do everything, be really versatile. I can play a sniper, but I know I'm going to have to stay pretty stationary. I can move a little bit if I want to get fancy. Maybe I have to play some scrubs, whatever. But, there's specific roles for these weapons, and I think by having a low count, it keeps it really well defined. So I do like that you brought up that point. From a game mode standpoint, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that for a second. Now, you and I, multiple times on Active Reload, we talked about it. On our show, when Judgment was out, we talked about it. We've made it a point on Call of Duty. We've talked about it on Halo. We've talked about it on Gears of War. There are so many people, and I'm not saying so many people. I'm saying there are only so many people that will play online games. And there are only so many people that will play online games religiously. After a while, that population continues to dwindle. All right, maybe unless you're Call of Duty, but again, they're on a yearly cycle. But we don't know what the Titanfall cycle is going to be. Maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. We don't know. So 3 years from now, if we're sitting there like, man, and think about it at launch, man, fuck, I want 20 fucking game modes. Where's the content at? I want 20 game modes. 3 years from now. 2 years from now, a year from now, when Destiny drops, the population is going to significantly dwindle. All right, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to significantly dwindle. Okay? I don't want 15 fucking game modes, and I can only play 5 because the other ones, there's no one playing.
Right.
I hate that shit. I hated it in Gears. I hated it in Call of Duty. I hated it in Halo. Every single game is adding all of this fluff where it's like what? We're talking minute differences in gameplay? Like headquarters search and destroy. Is that really necessary? Then you got kill confirm versus TDM. Okay, you add an objective to TDM. You got to collect these. I mean, it's like, at what point is it too much? Then you have the classic version, and then you have the hardcore version, and then you have the casual version. And it's like, what the fuck, man? Then you have event playlists, and then you have DLC playlists, and then you have, and it's like you keep segmenting your population, and there's only so many people that can play. I do not want 15 fucking game modes. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Maybe add 1, maybe add 2, and make sure they're well refined, well polished, and you put them out and say, hey, these are our game modes. Either you're going to like it or you're not. We're not going to make 20 game modes. We don't have the resources to do that. We don't want to dilute our game by doing that. And we don't want to segment our population by doing that. Those are all the things that I would look for in a multiplayer title at this point in time, after going through 3 fucking games. 3 of the biggest games out there, and all of them overpopulate their game modes because of content, and then you get this mindset. Well, I gotta play. I need to. A game needs to have 15 game modes, or it's shit. It's like, what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah. The thing is, like, I feel like if you're only gonna do 5 modes, they need to be modes which are accessible to everyone. You know, like they need to be targeted at a more general group.
Yeah.
The modes they picked, like I can see exactly what their line of thought was, right? Attrition is like your entry playlist where
Yep.
you kill grunts and specters and everything. That's like the, hey, I'm new to this game, not really that good at shooters. I'm just going to go in. I just want to shoot some shit and have fun. You know, like okay, do this. You can shoot the specters, you can shoot the bots. You're contributing towards your team. Kill 5 grunts and you're net positive. You know, with each life. Last Titan Standing was clearly made for people who wanted to play in Titans. Obviously, there's a pilot aspect to it, but for the most part, it's just Titans slamming against each other.
Yep.
You get a Titan at the beginning of the match, etc. Pilot Hunter was for the people that are like, fuck the bots. I don't want that to matter. But I still want to just play TDM like I usually do. But like those are 3 different audiences, right? Like those are 3 completely different audiences with very little crossover between them.
Yep.
There might be some crossover between like Last Titan Standing and Attrition a little bit, but like on the whole, those are really specified. And then Hardpoint and CTF, I think, are like the 2 well balanced modes. I feel like that's really the only 2 modes that are well balanced of the 5 in terms of like objective gameplay, and then there's actual things driving the action. I feel like Last Titan Standing, you would optimally just all sit in the corner together, or like all hug each other
Yeah.
if you want to play competitively.
Similar to
Same thing with
Gears.
TDM. Like TDM as a mode sucks if there's nothing on the map to fight over.
Yep. I agree.
So I mean, again, if you only do 5 modes, I feel like they need to be really accessible to everyone and appeal to everyone, instead of having specialized stuff. That said, I intend to play CTF all day.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to pull
Hardpoint's
me
fun,
from. It's going to be very hard to pull me from CTF. I mean, I'm going to play some Hardpoint, but I don't want to play Last Titan Standing. I'm just not interested in it that much. I tried it out in the beta. I thought it was okay, but
There's no objective.
yeah, I don't know. And you know how I am with that. I mean, we talked about it on Gears.
You need a bomb game type.
Like, yeah, that's why we wanted a bomb game type. Like, people just sit. Like, especially if you're in a high level, and money's on the line. Like, power weapons do a little bit to force action, but you get at some points where you have 3 hour matches. Like, this happened. 3 hour matches. That's why the 7 round rule was put into effect, because people won't move when money's on the line. So you need to force action and make game types, in my opinion, around that. So that's why bomb is such an exciting mode for me to watch. It's one of my favorite Call of Duty or Counter-Strike modes to watch, because it forces action and people have to make plays in order to succeed. Like, you can't just sit. You can't sit. So Last Titan Standing is just unappealing. Same with TDM.
I would like to have seen like a sabotage or like a one bomb type game type, or maybe like Halo's Assault kind of thing. Maybe even an oddball, maybe even search and destroy type mode with Last Titan Standing. Like any of those things, feel like would have been a good objective game type they could have added, which would have had more broad appeal.
Halo 4 has, I think, Extraction, which I think would probably, it's a bomb game type essentially, but I feel like it would fit the pace of Titanfall better than it actually would Halo. So that's something to think about. I don't know if you guys played Extraction. I actually really like that mode. It just felt a little off in Halo, like just slightly off. So, you know, on that side of content with the game modes, I just very much so disagree with people saying that they need a ton of game modes in order to make it fun. Like, that is, it to me, it just dilutes it, and it loses, it doesn't hone Respawn's focus on making quality game modes. It's just like, well, we can copy XYZ because we know this works because they did Call of Duty, so let's just bring those in and see if they work in Titanfall. Like, that would be probably how they would do it, and that, I don't want that.
The one thing I've been seeing people say is like, man, I've put in like 20 hours. I've unlocked pretty much everything. And like, there's nothing for me to do, is what I keep hearing.
Right.
And it's like, what do you mean there's nothing for you to do? There's 15 maps. that you all have these intricate routes to learn. There's all these different intricacies of the maps. Like literally, there's hundreds of routes on each map.
And this is the
Literally, there's
difference.
hundreds. There's
There is.
hundreds of routes on each map.
There is.
There's no skill there's no skill system to measure on yourself on, which sucks because that's usually like the long tail thing for people that are like. I assume my target audience on Twitter is mostly like people that be motivated by that, right?
Yeah, I agree. Both of ours.
But that said, like you can still have that without having a number. You know what I mean? Like you can still focus on getting better and learning the maps better and becoming better at maneuvering through the maps, becoming better at fighting Titan battles, learning how to use your Titan, learning how to use each of the weapons, each of the attachments, each of the things, because they aren't just attachments just thrown in there. Like they actually, for the most part, serve a very specific purpose, and they change the way you have to play with the weapon, from what I've seen. So, I mean, like, there's so much stuff to do beyond just like, all right, I just need to play a bunch to get all my stuff unlocked. All right, I'm done.
What you're saying is exactly what I've heard from our community, from other communities that
It's all over the
multiplayer
place.
games.
It's all over the place.
It is a different mindset with gamers. It is a different mindset than I think that what you and I grew up on is different than the mindset of what we're seeing. And the industry trend is making you say we need all of this stuff and it needs to be ordered in a fashion that people unlock it, so that's what they're used to. Halo's done it now when they didn't used to do it. Call of Duty. I mean, Respawn invented this, right? So, to some degree, I think they had to have known that it was going to happen. I knew they probably had like, okay, people are probably going to perceive this as content light, but
They
you
kind of
and
brought it
I,
on themselves because they made the system almost identical to COD.
yeah, yeah. But you and I know that there is so much to this game if you sit down and learn the game.
Yep.
There's potentially so much to the game that every time I play, I feel like I'm having a new experience. And unless you understand, I think that philosophically, why I could sit down on Unreal, which was probably the game I've logged more hours in, and maybe Gears of War as a trilogy, I probably logged the equivalent to what I did on Unreal and its franchise, because there was none of that. There was no progression. There was none of the shit that you see now. It was just you playing against somebody else, and that was it. And the thing that
almost
drove
any game from like 10, 15 years ago.
yeah, I mean, and the thing that drove me to play was I wanted to get better. Like, it was always interesting to me to find people either as skilled as myself or better than me, because I would be like, fuck, man, that dude is really good. How did he do that? What was he doing? Because you would see stuff that you just didn't see people doing. How could he shoot like that? His aim is ridiculous. How did he do that flag route? What was that jump right there? And you just didn't see that stuff. And I think that was a big reason, again, why Halo was so popular with the competitive guys, because they would be doing stuff like, how did he even, what? You know what I mean? Like Halo 2.
Guys, you remember how many Halo trick jump videos there were on YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you remember how many just montages of people jumping?
Yep.
Like, doing spins, like extra spins just for style points, and like, look at all the jumps we can do. You know,
Yep.
like, that's the discovery, which for some reason is just lost now.
So for me, I just can't relate to, not on the same level. I understand it, but I can't relate to anyone that says that content is what drives games. For me, it is gameplay. It is purely gameplay. If your game sucks, I will not give it the time of day. If your game is good, fundamentally good from a mechanic standpoint, I will play the shit out of it. And that's just how I am. And I think there's a difference in how people perceive games, and in that regard. So that leads me to my next thing with because maps, you've already covered maps. I think they're all it's pretty much what we talked about last week when I said I feel like based on the maps we saw, there's probably going to be a balance, which there is. The skill-based matchmaking. I think I don't want to rant too hard on this because we have so many times in the past, but this game being multiplayer only, the grunts do not make up for the slaughtering we are and will put on people in this game. It just does not make up for it. And you heard how frustrated I was playing with it seemingly people that did not know how to play capture the flag last night. My first game on, I was like, please guys, can you get out of your party, because I cannot play. I have to play hardpoint. I mean, hardpoint is going to be the game mode where I play by myself most likely because I cannot sit down and play capture the flag with people that will grab the flag and run along the ground. Meanwhile, you are on radar the entire time. You're on the mini map, and if you're walking, like you're gonna die.
It's you
My
walk into a
first
building,
game,
go around the stairs,
my first game,
look out the window at the second floor.
we lost 5-1. Okay, players on both teams. We played Angel City. This is a beta map. Players on both teams would grab the flag and run along the ground and go into buildings like they were playing Call of Duty. I wasn't even trying to grab the flag. I just happened to stop someone because I was telling them, and while I was playing, I was like, I just killed 4 dudes in our base right now because from keeping the flag, and the 5th guy grabbed it, killed me, ran back, I spawned back, I killed him before he gets to the flag. I grabbed the flag, hop up on one of the buildings. I was the only guy to take this route in this game. I hop on one of the buildings, go through the middle, hop up to the top, hop on star, hop down. I cap the flag in 15, 16 seconds, right? Meanwhile, people are taking 30-second routes running along the ground. It's not even that far between the 2 flag points, but people are running along the ground. I said, and I don't typically try to rage at new players because I understand what it's like to be new. But don't hop into fucking CTF. Like, hop into the entry level point. Make it so that these players are going to play against people that, I mean, I don't even have. So here's part of that. I don't even have a rank high enough that would be acceptable to say, all right, I'm not going to play with new players. But these are guys that went in there, and when I got back to the lobby, they were 15, 16, 17 rank. Meanwhile, I'm ranked 2. And they're running along the ground. Like, what? Like, they just don't, like, their minds right now are just not on what this game can actually be. They're playing what they're used to instead of what it is and what it can be and what it should be. And it's just so frustrating to watch it. And Colin, you were streaming right there. I think you had people in your stream like, damn, Arctic is pissed. So, I mean, I was just like, how is this possible? How is it possible?
And some of that's on Respawn, realistically. For some reason, the tutorial was not mandatory this time. During beta, it was mandatory, if you remember. Like, you had to play the tutorial first. Obviously, there's no skill matchmaking. Tutorial, like, it tells you how to do the moves, but it never really pulls them together. Like, for example, I think tutorial would have been good if it had, like, a, hey, follow me kind of thing, and then a pilot just goes running along the walls and you have to keep up with them. You know, like, something like that would have helped sell that aspect of things. But without that stuff, without skill-based matchmaking, without any kind of ranks or anything like that, without private matches to kind of practice on your own, for example,
Yeah.
you might want to run around the maps by yourself and get your bearings. Without any of that stuff, it makes it harder on new people. And it's definitely something which, for a multiplayer-only game, I think is almost unacceptable to not have that stuff. If it wasn't for the core game being fun as shit and me knowing that private matches were coming eventually, then I'd be like, well, fuck this, you know, because realistically, in the next 2 weeks, all of our matches are going to be the same.
Yep.
Unless we get lucky and we get matched with someone that's a group of people that's like-minded, you know?
And I'm pretty sure we are probably fueling the fire if you play against us in rank for those players that are getting slaughtered. Like up until we went to a group of 3 with Carrington, who hasn't played in 3 years, and Sean, we didn't drop a match. So I mean, as soon as we got 4 or 5 in there, like, we're not going to lose. Like, it'll be very difficult for us to lose a match. And so if you run against those players, like, it's a totally different game. It is a completely different game. Matter of fact, I watch, and some of you guys know him. I'm not trying to call him out. I watch the Market J, one of the few guys that I watch on Twitch. He's a big Call of Duty guy. I watched his stream for Titanfall earlier today. He did maybe 2 or 3 things that I would have said, oh, okay, he kind of gets it. He sat in a building. I think he was playing TDM, so that makes sense. But he sat in a building and moved back and forth between the building, and I saw no jumping. He played it exactly like Call of Duty. And the dude is good. He's a phenomenal Call of Duty player.
Yeah.
He just ran back and forth. And I was like, man, that is... And then everyone in viewing it is like, what's the difference between this and Call of Duty? And it's like...
I was surprised. I was even watching Sturmy, who was a pro Quake player, and he was even, like, not really using the movement stuff a lot of the time. his aim was on point, obviously, and he was wrecking shit and getting lots of kills.
Yeah, same
But
with Mark
like,
J. He was
yeah,
wrecking people because that's
but
what he
like
does in
was
Call of
just
Duty.
taking really slow routes a lot of the time and not utilizing the wall running, not utilizing the jumping. Again, like I feel like Respawn wanted people to learn that on their own, like to be able to have that sense of discovery.
Yeah.
But I also don't think they really fostered it as much as they could have with a more fleshed out tutorial.
So,
Yeah. Overall,
overall,
like for me, it's a purchase. Obviously, I'm a huge multiplayer guy. I've been hyping up the game for a long ass time. Um, I want to show people the way the game
should be
should
played.
be played.
Can be
And then,
played.
like,
How about we say it like that way?
no,
Can be played.
I think objectively, the way it was intended to be played.
Okay,
Because
I'll take that.
look at these maps. There's so many fucking walls set up perfectly for wall running. Like they're made for that, and no one's doing it. Like you have to at least at some point be like, oh, okay, I see. This wall is angled like this, leading into another wall. They probably intend for me to be up there and not walking down on the floor underneath.
Right.
Like it's the way it's intended to be played.
All right. So overall, I'm gonna say probably the same thing as Colin. I think it's worth a purchase. They have that $25 DLC thing coming out.
I'm waiting
I
to see
don't.
what comes in it.
I don't know if $85. Man, $85 on DLC plus this. I don't know if it warrants that. Like whatever they add in their DLC. I mean, other than maps, because they have more than enough maps. They have way more than enough maps. Uh,
Hopefully,
it's a
if they add
tough.
anything that isn't maps, it'll be a patch.
Maybe. So I guess what more I could kind of look for better tutorial, not necessarily for like gun gameplay or anything, just movement specifically tutorial. And you know what I think would be cool is like a gun game or not a gun a trial movement thing like you were talking where you ghost and they have that like a section of a map that shows a flag route
Yeah.
and you post up your time. They say, oh, Skyless does blah blah blah. He does this. He does it in 13 seconds, and then the players and you can upload that. I'm sure they can do this, but you upload that
I'm gonna be doing it on YouTube.
or they save it or whatever they do, and they
Yeah.
so this is done by Skyless. Can you beat it? And if you beat it, then you get a new record. That would be cool. That's kind of those movement type things that Quake did. Make Quake mods. Unreal did this kind of the same thing. I think that would really benefit the game in general. They kind of had like a movement tutorial specifically with ghosting in there. But I'm gonna say I think it's worth $60. I know it's probably gonna end up attracting a different type of player based on the things that I've already seen people complaining about. Um, I don't know where it's gonna fall long term, and I don't know how quickly private matches and stuff like that are gonna be there to keep the competitive guys enticed without them, abandoning ship for Halo or Call of Duty when that comes back around or whatever game. So I think, if Respawn gets the competitive private match stuff kind of up and running pretty quickly, there might be some pretty good teams and players that stick around and kind of see how the competitive side plays out. But I got to knock it for the skill based matchmaking. Seems like it's shaping up to be horrendous, if at all, if it's even there.
I don't think it's.
The um, the lack of like a movement tutorial specifically, and maybe add one mode that is different, but that could be in a DLC. I'm not pressed to play anything else because we got what we wanted. We got CTF.
Yeah,
And if
CTF
they didn't
was what I
have,
really wanted.
yeah, if they didn't have CTF, then I would be like, you know what, I can't even play this game. So I got what I wanted, and it's gonna, ensure that I play the game a while. Obviously, the Xbox 360 version is not out. We don't know what that's going to be like, what the experience is going to be like, what the frames are going to be like, the detail of the map. We don't know any of that stuff right now to compare it. PC version, Colin has played.
It's
I
not
have
very
not yet.
optimized, is my initial impressions.
Okay, so we've
And
only played
the
it on
options are kind
Xbox
of bare
One.
bones. It's clearly a port.
Yeah, it's a port from console to PC.
I mean, it was obviously made on PC, but it's built around the same framework as the console.
Yeah.
It's
So,
basically the same game. Like it's identical.
all right. We enjoy the game. We enjoy the game. If you are on the fence, continue to watch our gameplay. Continue to, stay tuned into what we're doing. But we
I
enjoy the
really,
game.
I really genuinely think that people will be watching some of the gameplays in like 2 months and be like, "Oh shit, I need to revisit that because that's not what I was doing."
Right.
Like
I mean,
that's what I hope people are able to do is be like, "Oh shit, maybe I didn't experience the game the way it should have been."
right. And I honestly think if you're interested in the competitive side, you probably should be playing CTF right now. I would lead towards
Mixing
that
some
in
Hardpoint,
Hardpoint.
but CTF's gonna be the shit.
Yeah, CTF is probably the way to go. And I haven't been able to kind of gauge what player group is better right now because I need to play some more. I need to play some more attrition or whatever the TDM is. But I imagine you're going to see very, very highly skilled players in CTF because of flag routes, so they'll have insane movement. Um, but yeah, gameplay wise, not much has changed from my impressions on the beta for mechs play, gunplay, all that stuff is pretty similar. But yeah, I think the game is good. I enjoy it. So there you guys go. It
10 minutes, right on the dot. We can do questions, then we can play.
We got to do Watch Dogs. We got to do Watch Dogs
Oh
when we can play.
no!
So I got to switch to Watch Dogs.
So they announced that release date's gonna be May 27th. Previously, it had just been known that it was pushed back. That is what, like 9 months from when they were going to release initially. It was gonna be launch, right? They're in do console launch.
That sounds right.
It's not quite 9. It's like 6, 7 months.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They also released a new gameplay video / trailer that talked about the story a bit. It's pretty generic, considering that the initial announcement was really intriguing to me.
How the hell I got logged out?
Hey, let me change the topic.
Yeah,
if you remember, like when they first talked about the game, they did the big unveil at E3 with like the remember they dropped money from the sky, if I remember right. Was that them?
I don't know.
Fake money. But yeah, then
I think you're right. I think they did.
The big talk was privacy, right? It's cameras everywhere. People able to access all your data, your phone, et cetera, et cetera. Like that was the theme. But then the story they showed during the trailer from this week was, you killed my daughter. Now I'm going to kill you. Like that's what it boiled down to.
Right.
And he's just using his hacker powers to get that revenge, which I thought was pretty lame. That's my initial impressions. I'm less excited with the news from this week than I was when they first announced the game.
Before they announced. So I watched a Polygon coverage.
The fuck?
I was too for a second, but I ended up watching Brian Crescent, whatever. From Polygon, he did a video cover piece on them, basically of why the game was delayed. It's pretty good. It makes sense, and the answers that I expected were pretty cut and dry. They polished the game, they fixed some bugs, tuning changes. They felt like there was not enough variety in the game, and so one of the things that Brian said that caught my attention, kind of, was that he played for an hour and a half. So he played the game for an hour and a half, and he said that in that hour and a half, he did not see a single thing that was repetitive. Now, I have to take that with a grain of salt because I don't know what he was talking about. He said he didn't see a single person that was the same person.
They had the same name and stuff, yeah.
Okay. So,
developers polish the shit out of their first hour. You know what I mean? Like, that's always the first thing that gets polished like crazy.
Right. So, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to hold up.
It looks like Grand Theft Auto now.
It does.
It looks a lot like Grand Theft Auto.
But it did before that. I mean, I don't say it did exactly before that, but I had the same kind of impression.
The emphasis wasn't the same, though. It wasn't like hijacking vehicles and shit, which is what they kind of showed.
They showed hijacking stuff.
Yeah, but he straight up walked to a vehicle and pulled someone out in the trailer, I believe.
People like doing that. Gotta show that. You can't have a sandbox game now that GTA is all big without someone walking up to a car, pulling them out, kicking them in the face, and then taking their car and rolling with some music playing, some music station. But yeah, they polished the game, fixed bugs, got tuning. The gameplay that they showed, I thought looked good. The thing that bothers me with a lot of Ubisoft games is gun gameplay.
It's pretty
And
bad.
the gun gameplay mechanics did not look that good.
Looks like Grand Theft Auto, which
It
also has
does. It
awful
looks
gun.
very similar to Grand Theft Auto in that regard, but it just, I don't know. There's something about it that I thought, and that was the only thing I had to knock with it was gun gameplay looked a little like you'd be fidgeting around trying to line up a headshot, swinging your gun back and forth until, oh, I got him. Which I think maybe I kind of expected, but I don't know. That always bothers me in those third person sandbox games that do that. And Ubisoft is notorious for having really twitchy gun gameplay. Outside of maybe Ghost Recon, which I felt was really solid.
Rainbow, you felt pretty fucking heavy.
I didn't like Rainbow, and I know some people. I didn't like Rainbow's how the guns felt in Rainbow. I don't like how they shot, but that's me. Some people loved the shit out of Rainbow. I was not one of them.
And the guns in Splinter Cell weren't bad.
They weren't. They weren't. That's true.
Everything Ghost Recon had a weird aiming all to its own.
The other thing that they announced was open world multiplayer, which allows players to drop in and drop out. There's going to be 8 players hosted. I have the link to it if you want to read this. Again, Polygon all over it because they were out there. All the info. But from a multiplayer side, I kind of want to see what it's like because I haven't played GTA Online at all. So I'm kind of interested to see how people like. It sounds like my impression of Watch Dogs online multiplayer is that people are going. It's like Troll Haven. That's how I picture it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's going to fare. It could be interesting. It could be disastrous. It might just be you and your friends all the time, and that's all that you're going to ever get. Because I would. Can you imagine an open lobby?
Yeah, it seems like it just.
I don't know. So I'm a little on the fence about the multiplayer, but I am. It's intriguing because of what the implications could mean for how gameplay could be. You could have someone hacking up your shit. You could just totally have your world turned upside down. But at the same time,
it's all these finely tuned scenarios, and then you just have one dude in your game just dicking with you.
Dicking, right? So I'm really interested to see how that kind of plays out. The last bit today, I want to say shortly before the show, there was an image that surfaced that showed a Watch Dogs closed beta on Xbox One. So I don't know if that
disappeared shortly after.
Which disappeared right shortly after. That's the article to the video. If you care about Watch Dogs, if it's the game that was on your radar, you can check out that video. But if let's say hypothetically that this demo comes out a month before, I called it a demo. I did that on. I didn't even mean to. But
it's not a demo if they don't publicly release it.
If they don't publicly release it, obviously it's a closed beta. But if it's in the works and they're about to announce a closed beta 2 months before the game comes out or a month before the game comes out, then it's a demo.
I call it like a network test.
So you think that the game is actually being demoed right now, but it's in closed beta and we just don't know? That's just that is a
probably. It's a really
scenario.
small amount, probably.
Yeah, that's totally plausible.
I think when they announced the Xbox One, they were talking about being able to send out beta invites. Remember, it was like one of the big dev at Xbox or Xbox whatever dev ID. I can't remember what the hell that program is called. But like that was one of the features was being able to do small scale betas over the network, so you can hand out codes.
I mean personally, and I see. I asked you before the show. You seem like you're on the fence about the game. I'm going to actually pick this game up.
Regardless, it was a purchase for me before, but after this week, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. So regardless, for me, I still want to play this game. So I'm still going to get it. May 27th is the release date. I don't know much more than what we talked about today. Again, I linked a couple articles on Twitch if you guys are in the chat, paying attention there on YouTube. But Watch Dogs is on my list. I'm anxious to see how the game plays, how it works for multiplayer. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily play it a whole lot. And I think that the only thing that is probably concerning to me at this point would be missions, if they're going to be repetitive or not, and the gun gameplay, which looked not good. It looked like I expected, which was not good.
Right.
So I'm hoping that it maybe feels better than what I and kind of picturing and what I saw from gameplay. Last couple minutes, I am going to go 5 minutes over. I want to know a couple things. You guys can ask some questions, but I want to know for the people watching on Twitch or YouTube, if you have Titanfall, how you're enjoying it, and do you guys plan on getting Watch Dogs? 2 questions. Anna, are you enjoying Titanfall, and do you plan on picking up Watch Dogs? Infamous Second Son is coming out next week. Will anybody from ZYN crew be posting anything on it? I'll get Tense to. How about that, sneaky brown guy? Or Phobos.
What game was it?
Infamous Second Son.
Oh.
You played that, remember? You played Infamous. I don't know if you played Second.
Like for 5 minutes, yeah.
Oh, I played I almost beat it.
Yeah, you played a bunch. I like Prototype better.
They're about the same. Prototype, there's something that throws me off. I think you just said that to be trolly, though.
I only played Prototype for like an hour, so therefore it's better.
I predict competitive console is going to drop off drastically, and the game will be updated faster on PC, allowing the PC community to thrive competitively. That is from Johannen?
I wouldn't hold your breath on it being updated more on PC.
I don't know about that. I will get Watch Dogs. Tense says, "Give me to do what?" Tense, you got to get Infamous Second Son and post some gameplay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sweet. I can't make any PlayStation 4 purchases until Uncharted. The game, Colin. Sky and Arctic, I have no intention to get Watch Dogs. I'm burnt out on Assassin's Creed. Looks too much like AC. Yeah, I can see that.
I've got Black Flag, by the way. I just haven't installed it or played it.
You're not going to play it now.
It'll take a while.
Titanfall is awesome. Need better teammates, but I love the movement. Cautiously optimistic on Watch Dogs. It's bad getting Watch Dogs. Not sure. Not getting Watch Dogs. Hawk Tanner. What about MGS, Metal Gear Solid, Ground Zero? I'm interested in the game. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not. It's too close.
I've only played a little bit of Metal Gear series.
And I'll be tapped out on my spending limit for the month.
Titanfall server issues. Titanfall server issues. Yep.
Yeah, the Metal Gear streams, if you're looking on Twitch now, your broadcaster says you can't stream until the 18th. What about PvZ? What about it? It served its purpose.
Yeah, we had said pretty much like it was PvZ than Titanfall.
I might try to play and maybe post a couple more videos on it. Get some of those PvZ folks. Maybe I'll do some tips and tactics. I'm not very good at that game, to be honest. Because I don't play it a lot, but...
Yeah, we're always streaming after this.
Nightbot is not live right now, Big. I disabled it for the time being. Do you think there would be a variance in skill levels in Titanfall with certain players excelling in Titans and one really good with movement with pilots? And do you think this promotes much more diverse gameplay than other shooters? Funny enough, we were kind of
discussing that a bit.
Theory crafting on strategy, yeah. So I do think that there will be a distinct role for players.
CTF especially. Like
yeah.
CTF Very much like that.
You're going to need some players that are really strong in Titans. You're going to need some players that can run the shit out of flags and have a very strong slaying capability. And you're going to need some players that tactically, spatially, know how to cut people off, where to defend, routes. I mean, it's just a completely different beast when you're chasing down people that can wall jump versus knowing linear pass.
That's the most fun for me is when someone starts booking it, and then you have to find the cutoff route and then get in front of them. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
It's
like
like
all
you're
the
doing the
chase
math
scenes in
in
the
your head.
movies where they're cutting through the intersections of New York, and all of a sudden the car just cuts in front of them.
And they look at each other.
Yeah, and then the guy pops up with a shotty.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that feels, and it's so fun. Like that's the best moment for me. But like, no one runs. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
no one's running yet. It's only fun when they run.
Pretty sure PVC is about to die. Dang. Will we hear more about the Transformers game? No, not from me. You will not, you will not hear anything from about the Transformers game. Yes, we are making it. That's it. That's all I got for you. Titanfall is dope, but I need a team. What about Destiny? What about Destiny? We're pretty hyped for that, but we got 6 months.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing Destiny.
We'll see where stuff's at that point.
BS94 is getting Dark Souls 2. Not after the bait and switch graphics downgrade. I heard that that's debunked.
Watch Dogs?
Watch Dogs, yeah. They had to confirm that they did not, in fact, downgrade their graphics.
Looks different. They changed it. Looks like it wasn't as much contrast as the initial videos.
How honestly can Microsoft let this happen on Titanfall's release day? Our servers just bork right now?
I think a lot of people are still playing, or else there would be people tweeting a bunch.
Tweeting about it? Yeah. What's up, Flacco? We're about to head out and start streaming. If you guys want to stick around on my channel, we're going to see if we can hop into servers working for me. Okay. We're going to see if we can hop into some matches and play. So if you're on YouTube, come on over. If you're on Twitch, stick around. Or head over to Skyless's stream if you guys want to watch some offense. I'll be playing mid.
It's twitch.tv/Skyzen.
Guys in. Why don't you just throw it in the chat?
This one.
Just click on Skyless's name, hit follow, and you guys can watch him play offense. I'm going to be just roaming around.
Xbox Live itself is having issues. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, hopefully we can get some games in.
Yep. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Like I said, try to stick around, and we will be on Titanfall if the Microsoft lets us. We'll see. Hopefully they do. But we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.